VTEC kicked in, yo! Quite like this, more than I thought I would. I mean, what on earth does this do? You're gonna have to drive around with the tailgate open. Oh, hello. You don't want to sit in there.
Oh my God.
A handy spanner. The Honda Prelude is back after 25 years. This is the 6th generation car and I've just been delivered it, and you're going to join me as I walk around it, test it out and examine it and drive it for the very first time. You will get my honest initial impressions of this car. It's all right. Let's do a sound check. So what we're going to do is compare it to a 5th generation model. I'll be deploying my 25 years as a motoring journalist to really give you the insight that you need. It's as if the car was really fat and then he went on a diet. I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Car Wow. This is my first proper chance to look at the new Prelude. Didn't like it in pictures. It's a bit of an odd one, this. I'm not fully decided. To the front, I think there's a bit too much going on and it almost looks like they're trying to do a Toyota look, but not really pulling it off. The side, once again, I find this car is better the closer you are to it. So when I'm looking at it from here, I quite like the coupe roof and I quite like the rear when you're close to it. But as I move further away, the whole proportions just look a little bit awkward, and that front from further away it's even more like goofy. It's almost like, you know, the alien's mouth, you know, when it's got that mouth within a mouth, it's like that's sort of going on. So it's not a definite win. This is not a car that I'm really thinking, oh, that looks great, I want to own that. I don't like black wheels on cars, but it works on this one with the other like bits of black on it, and I like the blue Brembo brakes. I am liking these side skirts here, the way they protrude. That shape's pretty cool, and these vents, which are actually filled with road debris, are real, which is a good thing. We don't like fake vents. Obviously, we've got the classic poppy outy door handles. Now I've got the key in my pocket. It should, do I just have to press them like that? You know, look good, but just a little bit awkward to use. Not as bad as a Tesla, because there's actually a little thing for you to grab underneath like that, so you're not like shaking the hand of it. You can actually grab it like that. And now it's just locking itself. Of course it is. Okay, let's go. You don't get those handles on a normal Civic, which is what this car is actually based on. But that's because the Prelude has a completely different coupe body. Every panel is different. But how well has it all been screwed together? Well, the fit and finish is pretty good. And so are the shut lines. In fact, in some places, like the edge of the bonnet, it's better than my Porsche 911 ST. But having said that, it's definitely not perfect. It's quite a big gap here, that's the only thing. And one thing I've noticed, so this has been parked under a tree, and you can see in the gaps, look, that could be problematic, getting filled with like kind of organic debris. You'd be hooking stuff out of there. But overall, in terms of the quality, it seems pretty good. But this is the proper test. The door. It's not bad actually, especially for a Japanese car. They normally have slightly lighter metal. My GR Yaris is like, let's check the bumper. No, sorry, the bonnet. Classic. On something like this, because it's got a coupe premium-y look, well, it's supposed to have. I'd like gas struts, but other than that, it all feels fine. And let's have a little listen. Solid enough. So build quality I'm impressed with on the outside. Looks, not convinced. Let's see what it's like on the inside. First off, I like the design of these seats. They do look cool. Let's see if they're comfy though. That is actually more important than what they look like. Oh, I was expecting electrical adjustment, but no. It doesn't really bother me too much, because I do like Japanese cars where they don't have a ratchet system. You have like just a release, so you can get the backrest exactly where you want it. And I sit upright like a grandmother. This is racing driver Sam. This is Matt Watson, 83-year-old grandmother of 4. But sitting in this, I like the driving position. I feel quite low, and there's plenty of adjustment. Though if you go too high, then you start to look at the roof lining. Jack, yep. I need you to jump in here, mate, because this could be a problem. Jack's a bit taller than me. What are you, 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'2", 6'1", something like that.
Go on, jump in. Now, I am all torso, so your torso's probably not much. That ain't...
I mean, my hair is touching.
Jump out. But that's something, if you're a tall person, you might find it a little bit cramped in here. That isn't a problem in the normal Civic, because you don't have such a sloping roof line. This isn't a great design. It's ergonomically not good. What is a good design is this though. Let's turn it on so you can see. Physical controls for the climate. That is good. And they feel nice. I like the interior design of the normal Civic, and this is just lifted because of the added flamboyance with the two-tone interior and this nice little bit of blue which matches the exterior. So visually, apart from this mess here with too many like buttons and levers and switches, I like the inside. It looks good. Thing is, does it feel good? We need to do a quality test. I'm going to start off with the feel of the materials. I'm going to actually take my glasses off for this because otherwise I can't see close up. So like, dash is squidgy. A little bit of wobble when I hit it. Look, I can see that wobbling. But you're not going to be smacking the dash, are you? It feels solid enough. Let me just do a little wobble test. So that's a bit flexy. Now, things do get a bit scratchy. I can tell already, look, like down here. And it's that sort of horrible, textured, scratchy plastic that they often use in Peugeots. Peugeots are famous for this. Fortunately, though, there's not too much exposed where you're going to be touching. The only bit where you're really going to touch it is on the door bins when you're putting stuff into the door pockets. Bit of a shame because like on the door tops, look, that's squidgy and soft. It's nice kind of fake leather there and here. This panel here, this big black plastic panel, seems a little bit cheap. The door handles feel fine though. I'm gonna look at the stitching now and I can already tell that it is super straight. My OCD is not being triggered at all. Oh, wait a minute. It is being triggered. Oh my goodness. And this is a problem that I mentioned so many times. The manufacturer shouldn't do it. This black plastic trim looks great for in the first day. Can you see already? Hands go on here. Hands probably, some people might have rings. Can you see the scratches? That's a problem. And also look, it picks up fingerprints, like your fingerprints are going to go on there. It's not a good choice having this shiny black plastic on the steering wheel. Or down here, this will scratch as well. Now, I've already tested those feel nice, but I've arrived in a BMW M5, right? It's cost over 100 grand. That feels nicer. The paddles feel nicer than in the M5. That feels better damp than in the M5. Let's feel this stuff. Do you know what I like? A proper old-fashioned air vent. No doing it through a screen. I can quickly just point the air exactly where I want it and turn it off and on. But I found one area that Honda has overlooked, and it's down here on the seats because the bolsters are already getting wrinkled and creased. This is a brand new car, so that's not a good sign. Do you know what it is with this seat? It's almost like they haven't pulled the leather tight enough on it. Look, if you come in here, can you see? It's like sort of, that is gonna like pucker up over time, that is. It's not great. Look, it's all just a little bit loose. It's as if the car was really fat and then it went on a diet, and while it lost the weight, it's still been left with the skin. But Honda isn't alone in this, because I found the same problem in this brand new Audi S5. It's not as bad as the Honda, but look at that. Can you see that? And here already it's like starting to get a little bit puckered and creased. And I've noticed this, look, the stitching here. That's obviously from jeans with like studs in the back. This is Jack's car. Jack, how many miles have you done in this?
I don't know, maybe 1,000?
That is
all in jeans.
All in jeans. Maybe this isn't a Honda problem. It might just be a new car problem. So let's rewind a few decades and investigate the sort of build quality you got from a Honda back in the 1990s. This is Craig. So Craig owns the Prelude. Thanks for bringing it down, really appreciate it. Looks lovely. That's not an original colour.
Nah.
You worked on the car a little bit.
Yeah, I've had it for about 5 years. Bought it during lockdown. Just sort of a little restoration. It was a completely different colour then.
What colour was it? Like they're normally like red or?
It was red originally.
Yeah, red.
If we opened the bonnet, you'd probably see
Okay.
it.
we'll look into the bonnet later on. What do you pay for it then? Probably about 6 or 7 grand.
I got this for about 1,500.
What? Wow. So how many miles is this? And quite a few then, surely.
Yeah, so this is on 120,000 miles.
Right, okay. But that should be no problem for a well-maintained Honda engine. Speaking of engines, Craig's Prelude has the 2.2 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with VTEC. And that means it also has the factory-fitted rear-wheel steering, which I'll try out soon. But at this point, I bet you spotted a few aftermarket bits on his car. So as well as the BMW yellow paint, it has new wheels, an Accord Type R rear wing, and bigger brakes. But it also has something I've never seen on any Honda before. This is not standard.
No, so that's a rare JDM option, but I've bolted it onto this.
What is that option for? I mean, what on earth does this do? It's like a spoiler at the far end of the bonnet. What?
It looks really cool when you're sitting inside it. That's what it does.
Really? I'll see. Thanks for lending us your car. I'm going to go and critique it in detail now, Craig, so you probably don't want to hang around just in case I start taking the piss out of it.
Oh, yeah.
I won't.
I'll just cry when the video comes out.
Right, cheers. Looking at the quality of the old car now, Craig's gone, the panel gaps aren't quite as tight as on the new car. Obviously tolerances, impressing of metal has improved over the years. Another thing is this car's obviously been apart for the respray, and you can see that lot on the bumpers. Key thing to test though is this. This will sound like an old Japanese car, I guarantee you. That feels better than I thought it would. Yeah, do you know why? Look, it's dropping slightly, so it drops slightly. See, it's going up. Door's been off, hasn't it? Needs just realigning. Sorry, Craig. One thing I do prefer about your car, old school handle. Doesn't pop out, nothing to go wrong, yet still sleek. What's wrong with that? I think people change stuff for change's sake. The biggest change though, you can see the difference in the size of both cars. Actually, I think they're the same length. I'm just going to check, but I think they're about the same. The old car is slightly longer, 4.545 millimeters. That one's 4.525, so 20 mil in it. 2 centimetres. Bang on the same, pretty much. But as you can see, it just looks so much sleeker, doesn't it? So much sleeker because it's lower. That car is quite tall. Even though it's got a coupe shape, it's supposed to be sporty, it's quite a tall car. Now there's a couple of reasons for it. If you notice, the bonnet on the new car is much higher. Part of the reason for that is pedestrian protection. There has to be a certain amount of distance between the skin of the car and the hard point underneath the engine. So old cars, we always talk about how much better you can see out of them, and that's because you get so much more glass because the belt line is lower. When you sit in them, like the window goes to about there, whereas in modern cars the belt line is so much higher. As you can see, it's usually about up there. Now you might think that's not good for safety, and in some ways it's not, but it does mean that if someone hits at the side, you're so much more protected in a modern car, and that's what it's all about. But yeah, visually speaking, the old car just looks sleeker and more special and more like a coupe, whereas this is, in comparison now, just a little bit bloated. It's really from this angle where you notice the biggest difference in the width. I can tell from here that the new car is probably about that much, about over 10 centimetres wide, and that really matters when you're driving on the road. You just have less room to manoeuvre. Let me just check the actual stats on it. Okay, so old car, 1,750 millimetres wide. The new one, this is excluding wind mirrors, is 1,880 millimetres. So that's like 13 centimetres. However, obviously, it's going to feel smaller inside the old car, right? Right, let's have a look in here. Whoa! It feels lower, and lower equals sportier. It doesn't really feel any smaller. It feels actually more spacious just because of the increased glass. Fabulous driving position. That's one thing that has not changed over the years. It's always been great in Hondas. I love Hondas. One of the things about them is obviously the design of right-hand drive cars because of the Japanese market, and so you always have the perfect driving position rather than some wonky offset stuff that you get with like the European built models. Layout, simple, functional, not particularly stylish, but not bad either. There's no screens, it's all like analog and buttons and so on and so forth. And we even have a cassette deck, look. Takes me back to the 90s. Lovely. What we got here? This is of its time. Someone's done some tape-to-tape copying. Anyway, enough of that nonsense, you don't care. Oh, hello. You don't want to see in there. That's secret. Oh, I bet that rattles when he's driving. Quality wise, even back in the day, we got squidgy, we got, it's not exactly hard brittle plastics, bit squidgy there as well. Let's see the center console. That really wobbles. Look at that, so they have improved it, and these will feel cheaper. Yeah, they do. Yeah, look at that. Can you see the steering column moving as well? So quality has improved, though steering wheel feels blooming lovely. Look at that. It's even got cruise control, this one. Look, it's cruise control. Like, looks a bit awkward the way that's put on there. The seats, look, we haven't got puckering on the bolsters, and this is an old car. It's actually worn really, really well. And because they're fabric and not leather, they actually hold you tighter. That's why sporty cars have Alcantara. It's fabric, isn't it? It just grips your clothes better. This, for a car that, I mean, costing 1,500 quid, it's going to be worth about like 8 grand now, like with all the work he's done on it. There's one thing that's a little bit odd I've noticed in this car. The switch for the heated seats, it's there in the door bin. And one quality issue I've spotted is this bit of door trim there is sort of falling off. I'm sure Craig can sort that out. I'm just going to let that rest there for a bit. Right, we're going to take this for a drive in a bit, but first I want to test the performance of the new Prelude. It's supposed to be a sporty car. Does it go like a sporty car should? Seeing as this Prelude is basically a Civic underneath, it's going to have the same power system. So 2 litre petrol engine mated to an electric motor, so it's a hybrid. You can tell it's a hybrid. Look, we've got the high voltage cables there in orange. In the Civic, puts out 180 horsepower. They haven't changed it for this. So 180 horsepower, driving the front wheels. It'll have a CVT gearbox. In the Civic, it can like mimic a normal gearbox, so we'll have a little try of that. So you get like these step changes to make it feel a little bit more kind of normal or sporty. It's going to be interesting to see how quick it is though, whether it feels quick.
Can we do a bet?
Yeah, we can do a bet. What bet do you want? I know.
I bet £1.
Yeah.
That it's 9 seconds.
Okay, so I reckon it's probably going to do about an 8.5. I think that'll be quicker.
I think the old car's going to be quicker.
Let's talk about the engine in that. First off, feel the weight of this, Jack. Like, feel the weight. Ready? You ready?
Oh my god. Made of lead.
That is heavier, isn't it? You can see the original colour of the car there. Obviously this is older, so it doesn't look quite as nice. Apart from the fact you do get to see the top of the engine and the rocker covers. In terms of power, I think it's going to be about 180, maybe 190 horsepower. I'll just double check it. I can't remember from back in the day. The manual has 200 horsepower, the auto has 185. This car is going to be lighter, isn't it, as well, so it should go quicker. So the new car is 1,480 kilos. And important words there, VTEC. So the way the engine works in the new car is that it provides power for the electric motor, and the electric motor actually drives the wheels most of the time, unless you're really flooring it, and then you get some drive direct from the engine as well. It's all a bit confusing. This is simple. You've got a 5-speed gearbox driving the front wheel, so the engine just to the gearbox, no messing around, no hybrid technology, all simple, stupid. With VTEC variable valve timing, gives you more torque, good for emissions, and then you get this step up higher up in the rev range. So I'm looking forward until the VTEC kicks in, yo. So I reckon this is probably going to do an 8 second, because it's manual.
Yeah, I'd say
8,
eight.
okay. Right, we'll find out. Let's go do it. Let's launch them. Sorry, Craig. This may be the last time your car runs. Before I launch it though, let's have a listen to the sound of this. No soft limiters. Now I'm going to hold it slightly on the bite and then give it a bit of revs and slip a touch. But I've got to go easy on this clutch because it ain't my car. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's quite a good start. VTEC kicked in, yo! Oh, it goes. It absolutely rips, and the gear shift is nice. 8.27. Oh, that was pretty good on the guess there. Let's keep going. And for the quarter mile, 16.22. Okay, so 0 to 60 is supposed to be 6.7 seconds. I'm not going to get much closer than that. Go on, I'll give it one more go. A bit more revs. That was a faster gear change. 7.96. And I beat the 16, 15.97. Craig, I won't do it again, mate. I'm done. I'll take that. It's going to be interesting to see how the new car compares. So I've got it in Sport Plus for the gear shift. It's fake gear shift, it's got CVT. And in Sport mode for the drive. There we go. I'm just going to floor the throttle. I'm not going to try and brake boost it. It'll just confuse the system. Before we do anything, let's do a sound check like we did on the old car. So here we go. I'm going to rev it. The noise I get is that. Nothing. Put it into drive. Can't start up engine. Right, that's first failure. Right, it's just going to pull away on electric power, isn't it? It'll be what it'll be. So I'm reckoning about 8 seconds, just over 8, and 16.5 seconds for the standing quarter mile. In fact, I'm not going to go for 17 seconds from the standing quarter mile. I think it's going to slow down as it speeds up, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's do it. It sounds like the old car, but that noise is fake. What? It's quicker to 60, 7.72 and 16.10 on the quarter mile. So slightly slower on the quarter mile, but quicker on the 0 to 60. Jack was wrong, I was wrong, but at least I was closer. And let's see what the claim time is on this. The claim time is 8.2, so this is quicker than claimed. The old one was slower than claimed. A victory to modernity. That was a surprise, but will my next test also throw a curveball, as I want to measure how long it takes these cars to stop from 60 miles an hour. This should stop quicker, even though it's heavier. It's going to have better brakes and bigger tyres. So average modern car is about 35 metres to stop from 60. I reckon this will do a bit better. I think it's going to do a 33 metres. Let's bring it in. 3, 2, 1, brake. $31 meters. I bet the old car can't get anywhere near that. Let's give it a go though. Here we go then. Brake test from 60 in the old Prelude. What's it going to do? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Got into ABS quite quickly then. But what's the distance on this one? 39 meters. It just ABS straight away. Oh well. That's progress for you, isn't it, for sure? That's definitely one of the benefits of a new car, though, and the disadvantage is the price. So how much does that new Prelude cost? I feel that a car like this should cost around £35,000. That's what I feel it should be, but I know that prices have become absurdly inflated. I also know that it's going to be slightly more expensive than what the Civic was, and this will be the top spec car because it's from the press office. I reckon this is over 40 grand. It's going to be about like 41 grand, 42 grand, low 40s, something like that. Let's find out. I've got the details of the car here. Its base price for the grade and engine is 39,595, but then because the colour and trim, it's an extra 700 quid, and then the on the road price, which is the real price, is £42,740. Brilliant. Right, let me just go on Carwow and see what savings are on Honda Preludes. There probably isn't one yet because it's so new. Average saving on a Civic through Carwow is 2,766. So, depending on when you're watching this video, make sure you head to Carwow to check out the latest deals. It's really, really important. Now, let's just go into the specs on this car. So interestingly, on this car, there is just this one spec. There's not different specs with different trim levels. What's fitted to this car is the paint, which is 700 quid, the tailgate spoiler, which is 600 quid, and white illuminated door sill trim, which is 445 quid. So all in all, quite an expensive car. The old one seems like a bit of a bargain, doesn't it? But there's always a risk with buying an old used car. Now, whenever you're buying a used car, you should always do a history check on it, and I use Car Vertical. And what I'm going to do, I haven't told Craig I'm doing this, is run a Car Vertical history check on his car. So I'm just going to whack the registration in and wait for the report to come back. Right away, it's not great news, Craig. So it's got a score of 56 out of 100. Why has it been marked down? So mileage, attention, let's go straight to that. It seems this vehicle wasn't being used for a while. There may be a good reason, but it's still useful to learn the facts. Actually, before Craig bought it, so about 2019, it was like off the road for a year. Other than that, no issues relating to outstanding finance, no issues for damage, no theft or natural disaster exposure. So actually, I think it's okay. But you can't guarantee that. And here's some examples of some cars that weren't okay that have been highlighted by Car Vertical. Sometimes it'll highlight if they have been crashed, highlight if they've actually had the mileage wound back, if they've been stolen, or have outstanding finance. So always make sure you do a Car Vertical history check when you're buying a used car, and use the code CARWOW for 20% off. If you click on the pop-out banner or scan the QR code or follow the link in the description, you can actually go and use Car Vertical right now, check the history of your car and get that discount automatically applied. Now I need to assess this car's practicality. Being based on the normal Civic, that is a really practical car. Obviously it's going to be less practical because of the sloping roofline. I'm not holding out too much hope because I've already seen back there. It looks tight. First of all, getting in, actually, let me do it the correct way. So that's annoying. First of all, I want that to slide forward automatically. I'm having to do it with that. This looks really tight, by the way. This seat is in my driving position, so this is almost 911 bad. This is really bad. Like my head is like, look, this is not good. This is not good at all. Bad Honda. Yeah, there's Isofix there. I'm gonna try and fit a child seat in a bit, but I think it's gonna be blooming hard to get a child seat through this gap, but not good. Look, these seats do fold. Right, let's check out the boot. This is bad. I've got to get out. Actually, do you know what, before then, because I've got just a muddy little bit of knee room there, just a little bit. Let's see what happens when a taller person sits in. Go on, Jack. No, don't go crazy. Just try and get comfortable, but do it slowly. Otherwise, I won't be able to drive this car. Go on, go on. Go on, go on, go on.
That's probably fine for me.
Look, but my feet are trapped. I'm not getting out of there in a hurry. Anyway, let's check out the boot because hopefully it can't be any less practical than this.
That does give me an idea. I think I can make you more comfortable. One sec.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot better. So if you want to make your passengers in the back of your Prelude feel more comfortable, you're gonna have to drive around with the tailgate open. Now I'm guessing the boot is going to be a lot less practical than in the Civic. It's brilliant in the Civic. This is what it looks like. Yeah, look. So obviously a huge lip to lift stuff over. I do like the low cover. I love. That's a good solution. I wonder if you can fold it like you can a reflector, a filming reflector. You're probably not supposed to do this, but the good thing is when you're loading stuff in the boot, you can just put stuff on it without damaging it, but you're not going to load much really. In fact, you may as well leave it in because there's no depth to this boot. I reckon literage 320, no more than that. Let me just have a quick look. Actually, it's only 264 litres. I was doing it a favour. It's quite easy to put the rear seats down because you can just lean in like this. But this is not practical really. Do you know what? Actually, it's a two-seater in this car. This is how you're going to drive it. So therefore it is a bit more practical than you think. Let's compare it to the old car. Have things got worse? Right, what's it going to be like? So, will it move forward? Look at that. Why don't we get that anymore on the new car? Let me just skip across. Oh, I've noticed something. a handy spanner. So, actually, do you know what? This is worse. Not worse for headroom, but worse for knee room and foot space. Jack, go on, this is going to be awful. You have to do it slowly, because otherwise I will break.
Have you signed the waiver?
Yes, it's all fine. Go on then. Slowly, slowly, slowly. No, you can't go further. You're not far enough back, are you?
No, that's actually okay for me.
Is it? It's not good for me. Look, I'm actually, it's like, I can't, no. This is worse in the back seats. What about the boot? Just noticed something. So there's a little seat release here. So it's not like releases on the back of the seat. So turn, unlock. Okay. So you can fold down the rear seat if you want to carry longer items. And lock it again. I don't want to turn that too much because I might break it. Okay, let's check out the actual boot. Progress has been made in all these years. Your headroom was slightly better, but not by much. Oh, one thing is though, you didn't have the option of the open air experience like you do in the old car, because this is a saloon boot. I'm going to need to open it. Old school! Look at that old school Honda styly. And you got this handy handle that Craig has fitted to lift it up. So the boot is, it's wider, so you can fit golf clubs in it. Doesn't go as far back. And I think it's bigger, probably in terms of volume. It's going to be about, I don't know, 300. This is probably 320 after all. Let's have a look. What is it? Okay, so it's only 284 litres, so I'm overestimating again. The new car, I'm going to have to say, is more practical.
And some of that space is taken up with the maintenance area.
Yeah, that's right. Look at this. As Jack said, we've got the essentials you have to take with you. Do you reckon this car has a bit of an oil habit? Now these old cars are generally pretty practical. Let's just see how practical they are. So you've got storage in there, which you still can't see in. Cup holders there, and I like this feature look. So if you've got a thin bottle like that, it's going to wobble about. While this moves, you can actually do that, and it then locks it in place, and it has a little holder. That's quite a clever solution, that is. Oh, old tech, the obligatory ashtray, which is filled with, I don't know what that is. I've already seen the glove box, decent size, obviously not damped. And one problem though with older cars is the door bins are always a little bit slim, so there's no way you're going to fit a big bottle in. Have things improved by 2026? So look at this. Oh, actually, he says, yeah, you can just about fit a big bottle in there, and there's probably room for another one in there. Progress has been made, people. Glove box should be damped now. Yes, look at that. Although, it doesn't look quite as big, does it? It's not as big. Centre console is as big, and so you've got grippers in there, slightly different design, but does the same thing. Actually, that's a bit more wobbly than in the old car. And we have storage tray, and you've got charging there for your mobile phone. Speaking of which, let's check out the tech on this car. So my previous experience with Honda infotainment systems is that they're pretty poor and basic, and it's no exception here. Look, so quite old-fashioned looking, but not too difficult to navigate through, because you've got these big tiles for your different settings and stuff. You've got physical buttons for home, back, and volume control, and previous and next track. Right, let's go back to home. Navigation, you're probably not going to use this inbuilt system, because look how laggy and old-fashioned it actually appears. In fact, you're not going to use any of this at all, I wouldn't say. You're going to connect to your phone, so connect to your phone via brilliant. What? Brand new car, no wireless, Android Auto. And Lewis, you give me the shortest cable ever. Thanks, mate. Here we go. Will it go full screen? Yes, it does. Whoop.
There you go.
There we go. That was my details. Editor, cut that out. So that's what you're going to run, but unfortunately you have to do it wired. Let's have a look at the digital driver's display. That is reasonably clear. It's got enough information on it. And oh, look at that. The economy is currently averaging 41 mpg, which is pretty decent in this particular round. Or you can have different things like your radio, your phone, and customize the whole display. Power meter content. So actually it is configurable. Tachometer content. Ultimately, that's what I'd rather have. This is confusing. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to read the manual. I can't be asked right now, but it's not as intuitive as it really should be. Anyway, I need to take this car for a proper drive, see what it's like on the road. It's going to be interesting to compare the handling of these two cars. So the normal Honda Civic just drives really well. Good balance of comfort and handling. Hondas always tend to handle well. This feels all right. It's funny, I'm changing gears. That's pointless because it's just a CVT, but it sort of gives you that effect. It's got a little bit of lift off oversteer. I mean, it starts to push wide if you go too aggressive into a corner, but then when you lift off, it starts to rotate round on you, which is good. The suspension feels a little bit floppy, so it pogos a bit, but it feels quite responsive. It does have a sporty edge to it, and it feels quite nice, predictable, and a little bit fun to drive. It's all right. I actually thought it'd be softer and crapper, but I should have known better. It's a Honda. They always just get a good balance. Having said that though, it doesn't feel as sporty or as engaging as a Toyota GR86. If you want to see my full in-depth video review of that, click on the pop-out banner, scan the QR code, follow the link in the description. You can get one of those used with hardly any miles on it for similar money to one of these. And if you're after a sporty experience, that's what I'll be after. Whee! The stability control is all over this though. Well, let's turn it off a bit. There we go. No, it's not off at all. That's a shame because it feels quite lively. Honda always do this. It actually feels like there's some goodness underneath and I'm just not being allowed to access it. Look, it does. It wants to play. Doing my head in. You seem to have sorted a car out and then the electronics just ruining it.
Look at my lips, you're ruining it.
Either way, quite like this. More than I thought I would. But how does it compare to the old one? I bet its electronics aren't as nannying. Okay, here we go. Old Prelude. Well, it's nice to have a proper gear shift, and it's a fairly nice gear shift. Not as good as one in an S2000, and just hill and towing on the downshifts. Oh. Right, I can tell these are aftermarket coilovers, and it doesn't have the ride comforts of the new car. One thing I do like though, hydraulic powered steering. Ooh, wow, this feels like it's got a limited slip diff on the front axle. It just seems to hook. Or maybe that's the rear axle steering. It's a little bit more understeery though, I think, than the new car. Get on the... Oh, that's bizarre. Yeah, it doesn't seem as mobile actually. That it doesn't get hamstrung by electronics because there's no stability control. You absolutely have to get in the power band with this. This is a car I always wanted to go in when I was a kid, and here I am, many years later, finally getting to drive one, and I'm not actually disappointed. I think it's great. It's mad, isn't it, how much tech this had back in the day. And the new car's got tech in terms of its hybrid technology, but it's not exciting tech like VTEC and rear axle steering. Wow. Do you know what? If I want to go out for a blast, I'd take this over the new car. If I want to go longer distances, definitely the new car, but which one would I want to drive again? It's a no-brainer. It's this. Oh dear, what has the world come to? Maybe I need to take off my road tinted specs. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the new car, I'm going to live with it for a week, spend some time with it, drive it on some longer journeys. So we're going to leave the video here and we'll come back after I've had a good few days with a new Honda Prelude, and then I'll give you my verdict. After living with the car for a week, it's really grown on me. So I now like the way it looks. I also really like the way it drives. I mean, I was impressed with the drive on the initial first go in it, but since then I've actually looked into the specs and the details. I actually wanted to test it cold because sometimes when you read a car's specs, you prejudge it, and I didn't want to do that. And that's the whole idea behind this new style of review. You'll see if I spot things or don't, or whether they actually work or not. So the reason this car handles so well is because it's had a lot done to the chassis. Because I was thinking, well, I'm sure this is more fun than I remember a normal Civic being. Well, the reason for that is that it's got a slightly shorter wheelbase, which makes it more agile and more likely to turn in quicker. Also, it has a wider front track, once again, more front-end grip. Plus, it's got the steering rack from the Civic Type R. It's even got the dual front struts from the Civic Type R, which improve front-end grip. The whole chassis has been stiffened up over the normal Civic, and it's fitted with adaptive dampers, and that's why it just goes over bumps so well. Now you can actually mix and match it so that you can have like soft dampers and sporty engine setting in an individual mode, and that's how I've been driving it since. And overall, it's been an absolute pleasure to drive. It's been great on the motorway when I had to go to Heathrow Airport and back. Plus, it's been fun on the twisty roads because it handles really well. And then the best bit of all is the freaky gear change. So I got that a little bit wrong. I thought it was a CVT gearbox with like step changes, but it's not that at all. In fact, it's far more clever, and in many ways, it's got similar tech to a Koenigsegg Regera, and they cost like millions of pounds. So essentially, there is no gears, there's just one single gear, and the engine only actually drives the wheels when you're on the motorway, because a petrol engine is more efficient at cruising at high speed than an electric motor. Most of the time the front wheels are just driven by the electric motor, and the petrol engine works as a generator to charge up the battery or provide electricity for the motor. And what happens when you change gears is that you have a braking torque from the petrol motor when you pull upon one of the paddles, and what happens is it also controls the engine revs, and if you pull upon the paddle and you change up, it causes the engine revs to drop, and you get that change in revs and sound. When you pull the left pedal to change down, what happens is that it causes the engine to blip up and rev higher, like you're in a lower gear. And not only that, it uses the regen braking to give you some kind of like engine braking effect as well. It's totally nuts, but it totally works. It's the most convincing fake gear changes ever. It's a bit like Reiki. I mean, it's essentially a placebo, but it still makes you feel better. There is one thing though, the fact when you're changing gears, because you're having that torque interruption, the car isn't as quick as when you just use it normally. So now I'm gonna do another 0 to 60 test and see what it can really do. Right, I'm gonna launch the car and I'm gonna change gears myself. Let's see how well it does. 3, 2, 1, go. Come on. 7.55 seconds to 60 miles an hour. Certainly quicker than Honda says it'll do. Now let's try it again, but this time with no gear changes. Or will it be faster? Okay, so I'm going to turn off the gear changes. 3, 2, 1, go. It's changing gears. 7.39, but he was actually changing gears. I don't understand at all. That makes no sense to me. So I got on the phone to Honda to find out what was going on. They told me that the hybrid system does simulate gear changes in automatic mode, but the torque dip from the electric motor is slightly smaller than in manual mode. So this is why the car went slightly quicker when I let it change gear itself. And this wasn't the only thing I discovered during my time with the new Prelude, because here's some things that really annoyed me about it. Despite spending a lot of time with this car, still haven't got used to this silly gear selector. You see, in most automatic cars, pulling towards you is drive. My brain is programmed to that. So the amount of times I've got in here and gone, oh, I'm going to pull towards me for drive, and I've actually selected reverse. Why do it like this? I mean, this is just ridiculous. Unlike with some other coupes, there are no ISOFIX anchor points here on the front passenger seat, like none at all, which means you have to put the baby seat in the back for sure. And right, it's a bit of a faff. Right, so you pull this out to reveal the anchor points. So they seem quite easy to get to, but trying to get the child seat in through this gap, there is a reason why I haven't bothered to take my daughter in this car. It's not worth the effort. While visibility at the front, side and back is good, rear 3/4 over your shoulder when you're pulling out a junction is terrible. Look at this. Look. So you end up having to like peer around the seat to like have a little look. That has really annoyed me and made pulling out of my house very, very hard indeed. There is no rear screen wiper, which means that when it rained, I had to do this. Not ideal. I have subsequently found out that this car does have wireless phone connectivity, though only for Apple phones, not for Android phones. And what's particularly annoying is the location of the wireless charging, because if you've got Android, you've got to charge with your wire and you can't stick it in there, which is where you want to stick it. So you have to put it in one of the cup holders, don't you? Then you have like wires like across your coffee cup. Ah! Why are we second-rate citizens, us poor Android users? So then what's my final verdict on the new Honda Prelude? Well, I didn't think I'd like it, and I was totally wrong. I actually really like it. I think this is a good car, and the chassis is so good it could actually do with more power. It's just a shame that so few people will actually end up buying one. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.